Book 13, Friday Prayer. Narrated Abu Hurairah. I heard Allah's Apostle, Pbuh, saying, we, Muslims, are the last to come, but will be the foremost on the day of resurrection, though the former nations were given the holy scriptures before us. And this was their day, Friday, the celebration of which was made compulsory for them, but they differed about it. So Allah gave us the guidance for it, Friday, and all the other people are behind us in this respect. The Jews, holy day is tomorrow, that is Saturday, and the Christians is the day after tomorrow, that is Sunday. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, Allah's Apostle, Pbuh, said, any one of you attending the Friday prayers should take a bath. Narrated Ibn Amr, while Amr bin al-Khattab was standing and delivering the sermon on a Friday, one of the companions of the Prophet, who was one of the foremost muhajirs, emigrants, came. Amr said to him, what is the time now? He replied, I was busy and could not go back to my house till I heard the Adhan. I did not perform more than the ablution. Thereupon Amr said to him, did you perform only the ablution, although you know that Allah's Apostle, Pbuh, used to order us to take a bath on Fridays? Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's Apostle, Pbuh, said, the taking of a bath on Friday is compulsory for every male Muslim who has attained the age of puberty. Narrated Abu said, I testify that Allah's Apostle said, the taking of a bath on Friday is compulsory for every male Muslim who has attained the age of puberty, and, also, the cleaning of his teeth with Siwak, and the using of perfume if it is available. Amr, a sub-narrator, said, I confirm that the taking of a bath is compulsory, but as for the Siwak and the using of perfume, Allah knows better whether it is obligatory or not, but according to the Hadith it is as above. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle, Pbuh, said, any person who takes a bath on Friday like the bath of Janaba and then goes for the prayer, in the first hour that is early, it is as if he had sacrificed a camel, in Allah's cause, and whoever goes in the second hour it is as if he had sacrificed a cow, and whoever goes in the third hour, then it is as if he had sacrificed a horned ram, and if one goes in the fourth hour, then it is as if he had sacrificed a hen, and whoever goes in the fifth hour then it is as if he had offered an egg. When the Imam comes out, that is starts delivering the khutbah, the angels present themselves to listen to the khutbah. Narrated Abu Hurairah, while Amr bin al-Khattab was delivering the khutbah on a Friday, a man entered the mosque. Amr asked him, what has detained you from the prayer? The man said, it was only that when I heard the Adhan I performed ablution for the prayer. On that Amr said, did you not hear the Prophet saying, any one of you going out for the Jumu'ah prayer should take a bath? Narrated Salman al-Farsi, the Prophet, Pbuh, said, whoever takes a bath on Friday, purifies himself as much as he can, then uses his hair oil or perfumes himself with the scent of his house, then proceeds for the Jumu'ah prayer, and does not separate two persons sitting together in the mosque, then prays as much as Allah has written for him and then remains silent while the Imam is delivering the khutbah, his sins in between the present and the last Friday would be forgiven. Narrated Taus, I said to Ibn Abbas, the people are narrating that the Prophet said, take a bath on Friday and wash your heads, that is take a thorough bath, even though you were not junub, and use perfume. On that Ibn Abbas replied, I know about the bath, that is it is essential, but I do not know about the perfume, that is whether it is essential or not. Narrated Taus, Ibn Abbas mentioned the statement of the Prophet regarding the taking of a bath on Friday, and then I asked him whether the Prophet, Pbuh, had ordered perfume or hair oil to be used if they could be found in one's house. He, Ibn Abbas, replied that he did not know about it. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, Amr bin al-Khattab saw a silken cloak being sold at the gate of the mosque and said to Allah's Apostle, I wish you would buy this to wear on Fridays and also on occasions of the arrivals of the delegations. Allah's Apostle replied, this will be worn by a person who will have no share, reward, in the hereafter. Later on similar cloaks were given to Allah's Apostle and he gave one of them to Amr bin al-Khattab. On that Amr said, O Allah's Apostle, You have given me this cloak, although on the cloak of a Turid, a cloak merchant who was selling that silken cloak at the gate of the mosque, you passed such and such a remark. Allah's Apostle replied, I have not given you this to wear. And so Umar bin al-Khattab gave it to his pagan brother in Mecca to wear. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, if I had not found it hard for my followers or the people, I would have ordered them to clean their teeth with siwak for every prayer. Narrated Anas, Allah's Apostle I said, I have told you repeatedly to use the siwak. The Prophet put emphasis on the use of the siwak. Narrated Hudayfa, when the Prophet, Pbuh, got up at night, for the night prayer, he used to clean his mouth. Narrated Aisha, Abdurrahman bin Abi Bakr came holding a siwak with which he was cleaning his teeth. Allah's Apostle looked at him. I requested Abdurrahman to give the siwak to me, and after he gave it to me I divided it, chewed it and gave it to Allah's Apostle. Then he cleaned his teeth with it and, at that time, he was resting against my chest. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet used to recite the following in the Fajr prayer of Friday: Alif, Lam, Mim, Tanzil, Surat as-Sajda number 32, and Halat al-Ansani, that is Surah Adhan number 76. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the first Jumu'ah prayer which was offered after a Jumu'ah prayer offered at the Mosque of Allah's Apostle took place in the Mosque of the tribe of Abdul Qais at Jawathi in Bahrain. Volume 2, Book 13, number 18, narrated Ibn Umar, I heard Allah's Apostle saying, all of you are guardians. Yunis said, Ruzayk bin Hukaym wrote to Ibn Shihab while I was with him at Wadi al-Qura saying, shall I lead the Jumu'ah prayer? Ruzayk was working on the land, I.e. farming, and there was a group of Sudanese people and some others with him. Ruzayk was then the governor of Ayla. Ibn Shihab wrote to Ruzayk, ordering him to lead the Jumu'ah prayer and telling him that Salim told him that Abdullah bin Umar had said, I heard Allah's Apostle saying, all of you are guardians and responsible for your wards and the things under your care. The Imam, that is ruler, is the guardian of his subjects and is responsible for them, and a man is the guardian of his family and is responsible for them. A woman is the guardian of her husband's house and is responsible for it. A servant is the guardian of his master's belongings and is responsible for them. I thought that he also said, a man is the guardian of his father's property and is responsible for it. All of you are guardians and responsible for your wards and the things under your care. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, I heard Allah's Apostle saying, any one of you coming for the Jumu'ah prayer should take a bath. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's Apostle said, the taking of a bath on Friday is compulsory for every Muslim who has attained the age of puberty. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, we are the last to come amongst the nations, but will be the foremost on the day of resurrection. They were given the Holy Scripture before us and we were given the Quran after them. And this was the day, Friday, about which they differed, and Allah gave us the guidance for that. So tomorrow, that is Saturday, is the Jews' day, and the day after tomorrow, that is Sunday, is the Christians'. The Prophet, Pbuh, remained silent for a while, and then said, it is obligatory for every Muslim that he should take a bath once in 7 days, when he should wash his head and body. Narrated Abu Hurairah through different narrators that the Prophet said, it is Allah's right on every Muslim that he should take a bath, at least, once in 7 days. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, Pbuh, said, allow women to go to the mosques at night. Narrated Ibn Umar, one of the wives of Umar bin al-Khattab, used to offer the Fajr and the Isha prayer in congregation in the mosque. She was asked why she had come out for the prayer, as she knew that Umar disliked it, and he has great ghera, self-respect. She replied, what prevents him from stopping me from this act? The other replied, the statement of Allah's Apostle, Pbuh, do not stop Allah's woman slave from going to Allah's mosques prevents him. Narrated Muhammad bin Sirin, on a rainy day Ibn Abbas said to his mueddin, after saying, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, I testify that Muhammad is Allah's Apostle, do not say Hayya ala salat, come for the prayer, but say pray in your houses. The man did so. But the people disliked it. Ibn Abbas said, It was done by one who was much better than I, that is the Prophet, pbuh. No doubt, the Jumu'ah prayer is compulsory, but I dislike to put you to task by bringing you out walking in mud and slush. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, the people used to come from their abodes and from Alawi, that is outskirts of Medina, up to a distance of 4 miles or more from Medina. They used to pass through dust and used to be drenched with sweat and covered with dust, so sweat used to trickle from them. One of them came to Allah's apostle who was in my house. The Prophet said to him, I wish that you keep yourself clean on this day of yours, that is, take a bath. Narrated Yahya bin said, I asked Imra about taking a bath on Fridays. She replied, Aisha said, the people used to work, for their livelihood, and whenever they went for the Jumu'ah prayer, they used to go to the mosque in the same shape as they had been in work. So they were asked to take a bath on Friday. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet used to offer the Jumu'ah prayer immediately after midday. Narrated Anas bin Malik, we used to offer the Jumu'ah prayer early and then have an afternoon nap. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet used to offer the prayer earlier if it was very cold, and if it was very hot he used to delay the prayer, that is the Jumu'ah prayer. Narrated Abu Abs, I heard the Prophet saying, anyone whose feet are covered with dust in Allah's cause, shall be saved by Allah from the hellfire. Narrated Abu Hurairah, heard Allah's apostles, pbuh, saying, if the prayer is started, do not run for it but just walk for it calmly and pray whatever you get, and complete whatever is missed. Narrated Abdullah bin Abi Qatada on the authority of his father, the Prophet, pbuh, said, do not stand up for prayer, unless you see me, and observe calmness and solemnity. Narrated Salman al-Farsi, Allah's apostle, pbuh, said, anyone who takes a bath on Friday and cleans himself as much as he can and puts oil on his hair, or scents himself, and then proceeds for the prayer and does not force his way between two persons, assembled in the mosque for the Friday prayer, and prays as much as is written for him and remains quiet when the Imam delivers the khutbah, all his sins in between the present and the last Friday will be forgiven. Narrated Ibn Jarraj, I heard Nazi saying, Ibn Ammar, said, the Prophet forbade that a man should make another man to get up to sit in his place. I said to Nafi, is it for Jumu'ah prayer only? He replied, for Jumu'ah prayer and any other prayer. Narrated Usayd bin Yazid, in the lifetime of the Prophet, Abu Bakr and Umar, the Adhan for the Jumu'ah prayer used to be pronounced when the Imam sat on the pulpit. But during the Caliphate of Uthman, when the Muslims increased in number, a third Adhan at Az-Zuhra was added. Abu Abdullah said, Az-Zuhra is a place in the market of Medina. Narrated Usayd bin Yazid, the person who increased the number of Adhans for the Jumu'ah prayers to 3 was Uthman bin Affan, and it was when the number of the Muslim people of Medina had increased. In the lifetime of the Prophet there was only one mueddin, and the Adhan used to be pronounced only after the Imam had taken his seat, that is on the pulpit. Narrated Abu Umama bin Sul bin Hanif, I heard Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan repeating the statements of the Adhan while he was sitting on the pulpit. When the mueddin pronounced the Adhan saying, Allahu Akbar, Muawiyah said, Allah Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And when the mueddin said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, Muawiyah said, and so do I. When he said, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, I testify that Muhammad is Allah's apostle, Muawiyah said, and so do I. When the Adhan was finished, Muawiyah said, O people, when the mueddin pronounced the Adhan, I heard Allah's apostle on this very pulpit saying what you have just heard me saying. Narrated Aswab bin Yazid Uthman bin Affan introduced the second Adhan on Fridays when the number of the people in the mosque increased. Previously the Adhan on Fridays used to be pronounced only after the Imam had taken his seat on the pulpit. Narrated Az-Zuhri, I heard Usayd bin Yazid saying, in the lifetime of Allah's apostle, and Abu Bakr and Umar, the Adhan for the Jumu'ah prayer used to be pronounced after the Imam had taken his seat on the pulpit. But when the people increased in number during the Caliphate of Uthman, he introduced a third Adhan on Friday for the Jumu'ah prayer, and it was pronounced at Az-Zuhra, and that new state of affairs remained so in the succeeding years. Narrated Abu Hazim bin Dinar, some people went to Sal bin Sa'd as-Sadi and told him that they had different opinions regarding the wood of a pulpit. They asked him about it and he said, "By Allah, I know of what wood the pulpit was made, and no doubt I saw it on thy very first day when Allah's apostle I took his seat on it. Allah's apostle sent for such and such an Ansari woman," and Sal mentioned her name, and said to her, "Order your slave carpenter to prepare for me some pieces of wood, that is pulpit, on which I may sit at the time of addressing the people." So she ordered her slave carpenter and he made it from the tamarisk of the forest and brought it to the woman. The woman sent that pulpit to Allah's apostle, who ordered it to be placed here. Then I saw Allah's apostle praying on it and then bowed on it. Then he stepped back, got down and prostrated on the ground near the foot of the pulpit and again ascended the pulpit. After finishing the prayer he faced the people and said, "I have done this so that you may follow me and learn the way I pray." Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, the Prophet used to stand by a stem of a date palm tree, while delivering a sermon. When the pulpit was placed for him we heard that stem crying like a pregnant she-camel till the Prophet got down from the pulpit and placed his hand over it. Narrated Salim, my father said, I heard the Prophet delivering the khutbah on the pulpit and he said, "Whoever comes for the Jumu'ah prayer should take a bath before coming." Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, Pbuh, used to deliver the khutbah while standing and then he would sit, then stand again as you do nowadays. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, one day the Prophet sat on the pulpit and we sat around him. Narrated Amr bin Taglib, some property or something was brought to Allah's apostle and he distributed it. He gave to some men and ignored the others. Later he got the news of his being admonished by those whom he had ignored. So he glorified and praised Allah and said, "Amma Badu. By Allah, I may give to a man and ignore another, although the one whom I ignore is more beloved to me than the one whom I give. But I give to some people as I feel that they have no patience and no contentment in their hearts, and I leave those who are patient and self-contented with the goodness and wealth which Allah has put into their hearts, and Amr bin Taglib is one of them." Amr added, "By Allah, those words of Allah's apostle are more beloved to me than the best red camels." Narrated Aisha, once in the middle of the night Allah's apostle, Pbuh, went out and prayed in the mosque and some men prayed with him. The next morning the people spoke about it and so more people gathered and prayed with him, in the second night. They circulated the news in the morning, and so, on the third night the number of people increased greatly. Allah's apostle, Pbuh, came out and they prayed behind him. On the fourth night the mosque was overwhelmed by the people till it could not accommodate them. Allah's apostle came out only for the Fajr prayer, and when he finished the prayer, he faced the people and recited Tashahhud, "I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah and that Muhammad is his apostle," and then said, "Amma Badu. Verily your presence, in the mosque at night, was not hidden from me, but I was afraid that this prayer of Tahajjud, might be made compulsory and you might not be able to carry it out." Narrated Abu Hamid as-Sadi, one night Allah's apostle, Pbuh, stood up after the prayer and recited Tashahhud and then praised Allah as he deserved and said, "Amma Badu." Narrated Al-Miswar bin Makramah, once Allah's apostle got up for delivering the khutbah and I heard him after Tashahhud saying Amma Badu. Narrated Ibn Abbas, once the Prophet ascended the pulpit and it was the last gathering in which he took part. He was covering his shoulder with a big cloak and binding his head with an oily bandage. He glorified and praised Allah and said, "O people, come to me." So the people came and gathered around him and he then said, "Amma Badu. From now onward the Ansar will decrease and other people will increase. So anybody who becomes a ruler of the followers of Muhammad and has the power to harm or benefit people, then he should accept the good from the benevolent amongst them, Ansar, and overlook the faults of their wrongdoers." Narrated Abdullah ibn Umar, the Prophet used to deliver 2 khutbahs and sit in between them. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, "When it is a Friday, the angels stand at the gate of the mosque and keep on writing the names of the persons coming to the mosque in succession according to their arrivals. The example of the one who enters the mosque in the earliest hour is that of one offering a camel, in sacrifice. The one coming next is like one offering a cow and then a ram and then a chicken and then an egg respectively. When the Imam comes out, for Jumu'ah prayer, they, that is angels, fold their papers and listen to the khutbah. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, a person entered the mosque while the Prophet was delivering the khutbah on a Friday. The Prophet said to him, "Have you prayed?" The man replied in the negative. The Prophet said, "Get up and pray 2 rakat." Narrated Jabir, a man entered the mosque while the Prophet was delivering the khutbah. The Prophet said to him, "Have you prayed?" The man replied in the negative. The Prophet said, "Pray 2 rakat." Narrated Anas, while the Prophet was delivering the khutbah on a Friday, a man stood up and said, "O Allah's Apostle, the livestock and the sheep are dying, so pray to Allah for rain." So he, the Prophet, raised both his hands and invoked Allah for it. Narrated Anas bin Malik, once in the lifetime of the Prophet, pbuh, the people were afflicted with drought, famine. While the Prophet was delivering the khutbah on a Friday, a Bedouin stood up and said, "O Allah's Apostle, our possessions are being destroyed and the children are hungry. Please invoke Allah for rain." So the Prophet raised his hands. At that time there was not a trace of cloud in the sky. By him in whose hands my soul is, as soon as he lowered his hands, clouds gathered like mountains, and before he got down from the pulpit, I saw the rain falling on the beard of the Prophet. It rained that day, the next day, the third day, the fourth day till the next Friday. The same Bedouin or another man stood up and said, "O Allah's Apostle, the houses have collapsed, our possessions and livestock have been drowned. Please invoke Allah to protect us." So the Prophet raised both his hands and said, "O Allah, round about us and not on us." So, in whatever direction he pointed with his hands, the clouds dispersed and cleared away, and Medina's sky became clear as a hole in between the clouds. The valley of Qanat remained flooded. For 1 month, none came from outside but talked about the abundant rain. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle, pbuh, said, "When the Imam is delivering the khutbah, and you ask your companion to keep quiet and listen, then no doubt you have done an evil act." Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle, pbuh, talked about Friday and said, "There is an hour, opportune time, on Friday, and if a Muslim gets it while praying and asks something from Allah, then Allah will definitely meet his demand." And he, the Prophet, pointed out the shortness of that time with his hands. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, while we were praying, Jumu'ah khutbah and prayer, with the Prophet, pbuh, some camels loaded with food arrived from Sham. The people diverted their attention towards the camels, and left the mosque, and only 12 persons remained with the Prophet. So this verse was revealed, but when they see some bargain or some amusement, they disperse headlong to it, and leave you standing. 62.11 Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, Allah's Apostle used to pray 2 rakat before the Zuhr prayer and 2 rakat after it. He also used to pray 2 rakat after the Maghrib prayer in his house, and 2 rakat after the Isha prayer. He never prayed after Jumu'ah prayer till he departed from the mosque, and then he would pray 2 rakat at home. Narrated Sal bin Sa'd, there was a woman amongst us who had a farm and she used to sow silk, a kind of vegetable, on the edges of streams in her farm. On Fridays she used to pull out the silk from its roots and put the roots in a utensil. Then she would put a handful of powdered barley over it and cook it. The roots of the silk were a substitute for meat. After finishing the Jumu'ah prayer we used to greet her and she would give us that food which we would eat with our hands, and because of that meal, we used to look forward to Friday. Narrated Sal, as above with the addition, we never had an afternoon nap nor meals except after offering the Jumu'ah prayer. Narrated Anas, we used to offer the Jumu'ah prayer early and then have the afternoon nap. Narrated Sal, we used to offer the Jumu'ah prayer with the Prophet and then take the afternoon nap.